And hello, one and all, and welcome to this live Google Hangout special video I have here. This is going to be our thoughts, our opinions on how we would book the WWE Brand Split that is going to be taking place on July 19th with the upcoming WWE Draft. With me here, I have a special guest, Robbie One Kenobi. Robbie, thank you once again for joining me for one of these video collaborations.
Hey, you're welcome, man. No problem. Hey, let me tell you something. If I had a dime for every time I didn't want to join you for one of these collaborations, I'd have zero
dimes. There you go. Bada boom. Realest YouTubers in the room. How you
Realest
doing?
guys on YouTube. How you doing?
So we are ready. We are willing. We are able to give you our thoughts and opinions. Robbie and I, we're going to lay out the formula, the format for how we would set up the WWE Brand Split. We've had about a week or so to think about this topic, and with the Brand Split coming up, with less than a month away, everybody's chiming in on how they would, like to see things happen. So this is what we're going to do in this video. So without further ado, I'm going to go first, and then Robbie's going to go. So here we go, folks. This is going to be my WWE Brand Split. This is how I would book things. So to start, this is very this is a hot button issue. Should there be one or two world champions? I believe after all the work that they did, they went to unify the titles. It's this historic thing. We have one world title. I want to keep it that way. I want to have one world heavyweight champion that is a traveling champion that would go back and forth between both shows. I don't have an issue with this. The thing is, I know that they've messed up in the past booking two world champions. The world heavyweight champion would appear in the opening segment of Raw, the first match. So to me, it's been like, let's just keep it at one. They can't obviously book two. I mean, they can, but they've proven their track record is less to be desired. So I feel like less is more. In my brand split, I would have one WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And from there, this is another big change that I pray to God that I hope they do. I would have SmackDown at 2 hours, and I would make Monday Night Raw 2 hours again. I think it's. I've been saying it. I've been harping on it. I just talked to Robbie about this before we started this video. How can you have a 3-hour Raw with half your roster? First of all, that makes no sense. Second of all, you think the filler is bad now? It's going to be 10 times worse. So we need to cut Raw back to 2 hours. That's first and foremost. 2-hour Raw, 2-hour SmackDown. Now from there, here's how I would lay out the championships. I would have my United States Championship appear on Raw. I would also have my Women's Championship appear exclusively on Raw. The reason I'm keeping the women on one show only is because I just don't feel like there's enough women to, at the moment. I mean, eventually down the line you can with the more women you call up from NXT, but at the moment, I just don't feel like there's enough women to fully occupy both shows, like to have a women's roster on Raw and a women's roster on SmackDown. Therefore, I would keep all the women on one show, that being SmackDown, or excuse me, Raw. Likewise, for Raw, we're just going to stick to Raw only at the moment. My announcers for Raw, I'm bumping the Three Stooges out. I'm bringing Mauro Ranallo and Corey Graves on Raw. That would be my flagship announced team. So I'm sure a lot of you like that. That would be amazing. Realistically, it's not going to happen, but in my brand split, it most certainly would. Then,
did you hear? I'm sorry, Daniel. I didn't mean to cut you off, but did you hear that he and that Mauro and Daniel Bryan are going to be calling the Cruiserweight Classic?
Yes. That's freaking awesome.
That is.
And Mauro, I can't wait for the Cruiserweight Classic, July 13th, man. Pumped
because these guys know they're wrestling, and I don't think I've ever heard Daniel Bryan do commentary before, other than if it was a match.
Yeah.
It was being like, or a segment or anything. But I'm excited to I hope it's just natural that what they do, their commentary, I just hope it's natural.
Well, that's a trip getting off a little bit off topic. I mean, Triple H is probably heavily involved with the Cruiserweight Classic, so he'll be producing them in their ear. So I'm not worried about tweets and Facebook and did you know this and blah, 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 all these.
Yeah.
I mean, I could make a whole video about how commentary sucks ass today, but we're not going to go there. But anyways, back to Raw. As I was saying, those are my announcers. I feel like that's my dream commentary team. I want to see it one day. That should be on the flagship show. So hopefully one day we will see. I think we will one day see that team. It's only a matter of time, my friend. So my GM for Raw would be Shane O'Mac, Shane McMahon. I feel like he's a good fit for Raw. You know, it's just Shane and Raw. It goes hand in hand, whatnot. So that's who I have in charge of Raw.
Yeah.
Now, looking at the roster, obviously you would have all the in my brand split. I would have all the women on Raw. Charlotte, I bring up Bayley because she's obviously coming up soon. You'd have Paige, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Naomi, Tamina, Nikki Bella, Summer Rae, Emma, Dana Brooke. And I feel like if you have all the women on one show, you could at least have the championship feud and then one or two other feuds. At least two main feuds for the women if you have them all on one show. Because I feel like if you have them on both, it's just going to be too much until you call up more women from NXT, and over time, maybe in the long run, like I said, they could have women on both shows. But at the moment, I would keep all the women on Raw. Likewise, my roster for Raw, just looking at the big names, I would have Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins all together on Raw because I'd like to see that Shield triple threat still take place at SummerSlam. I'd have The Miz on Raw, Sami Zayn on Raw, Rusev, Neville, Baron Corbin, The Wyatts, Chris Jericho, Titus O'Neil, Sheamus, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton. I'd call up Austin Aries and eventually Samoa Joe to Monday Night Raw, so that would round out my Raw roster. And this is another thing I'm adding. I think they should only have 3-hour Raw specials where you have like a super show with both rosters the night after WrestleMania and the night after SummerSlam. You reserve those for 3-hour Raw specials and not every week, and there you go. You can still have your 3-hour Raws twice a year. Then, looking at the SmackDown side of things, I would have the tag teams exclusively on SmackDown. I would also have the Intercontinental Championship exclusive to SmackDown. I feel for the announcers for SmackDown, I have Michael Cole and JBL. Maybe not the most popular choice, but I think maybe weren't they somewhat okay back in the day?
Back in the day, they were really good.
Yeah.
During 2006, 2007 SmackDown, they were really good. But nowadays,
it's awful. It's god awful. It's pure raping. I mean, they're literally like raping our ears every Monday night. But
yeah,
I think if you get rid of Byron, you don't need a 3-man booth. That's another thing. You don't need 3 men on commentary. 2 is fine. So you stick them together, put them on SmackDown because you're still going to be around. Get rid of Byron Saxton. He's boring. He's bland. He serves no purpose. Sorry, Byron, but it's just business, buddy. I would have my GM of SmackDown, Stephanie McMahon, past SmackDown GM from the past. So I have no problem with sticking Stephanie on SmackDown. And then my roster for SmackDown would obviously have all the tag teams on it. Anderson and Gallows, The New Day, Lucha Dragons, Dudley Boys, Vaudevillains, Primo and Epico, Enzo and Big Cass, The Ascension, The Usos, and I would call up the American Alpha.
Yes.
And then, that it's going to happen, and I can't wait to see him tear it up. And then my roster for SmackDown would include John Cena, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Apollo Crews. I'd call it Finn Balor, put him on SmackDown. Del Rio, Cesaro, Tyler Breeze, Bo Dallas, Dolph Ziggler, Zack Ryder. I'd bring back Kurt Angle, put him on SmackDown, bring back Carlito, call up Eric Young, and Bobby Roode.
Whoa, damn, man.
There's my SmackDown roster. And now, last but not least, I'm going to give you my pay-per-view schedule. And I don't want the 2 pay-per-views a month. I feel like if they're going to do that on top of a 3-hour Raw and a 2-hour SmackDown, I'm sorry, you're going to overkill your product. And I'm saving that for another video. But as you can tell, Robbie and I, we're not a fan of 2 pay-per-views a month. No. No. There's a way around this, though. And here's how my pay-per-view schedule works out. January, we have the Royal Rumble. That is both brands. February, Fastlane. That's Raw. March, Roadblock. That's SmackDown. You can see where I'm going. April, WrestleMania. Both. May, Payback. Raw. Another May. They usually have 2 in May, so that's fine. Extreme Rules. That'll be the 1 month where we let that slide. SmackDown. June, Money in the Bank. I would have that be both. That could be so you see where I'm going. July, Battleground. Raw. August, SummerSlam. Both. September, you call it Clash of the Champions, Night of Champions, whatever we want to call it, SmackDown. October, you have your Hell in a Cell, Raw. November, Survivor Series, both. December, TLC, SmackDown. So instead of doing 2 a month and burning out your fan base even more, why not alternate months? Therefore, you have longer build between shows, which NXT has proven works. And you have what? On mine, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are both brands. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4 SmackDown. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. 4 SmackDown and 4 Raw pay-per-views. I think that works out really well. It's an even split. Boom. So you still get your brand-specific pay-per-views, but you have more time to build up to them, and you make the feuds even mean something even more with a long-term booking strategy. So, guys, that's my WWE brand split.
Wow. Big shoes to follow.
That's okay. Hey,
you know what? Let me ask you. What about bragging rights? Would you bring back bragging rights? Or
you could. I mean, I just used the names that we had now, but you could. That would be obviously both. But well, I don't know where I'd put it though, because I like how I have it. 4 and 4, and then the 5. Like that's a good number. I mean, you could, unless you get rid of Survivor. Well, that's really lost its. You could get rid of Survivor Series and replace it with bragging rights. That'd be very controversial, but
yeah, because Survivor Series is one of the big 4, but bragging rights has sort of become like Survivor Series, where it's Raw.
You can get rid of Battleground.
Yeah, I was never really a fan of Battleground.
It's been filler. That's pretty much the
filler pay-per-view. Yeah, I mean.
You could.
Last time they did the very first time they did Battleground, what was one of the matches? CM Punk versus Ryback.
Oh yeah, that was a classic.
Freaking Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton for the vacant WWE Heavyweight Championship, and the Big Show knocked everybody out.
And everybody hated that. Remember, people were livid about that ending. That's something you see on Raw. It was awful.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could. I didn't think about bringing back bragging rights. I know people have been asking about it, but
yeah.
You could, like I said, especially with the network. That's the nice thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I got for the brand split.
All right. Oh man.
So you're up. No pressure. No pressure.
Usually when it comes to these challenges, I'm always looking forward to these because I always have some standout options, choices, whatever. I'm not as prepared as Daniel. I'm gonna put it to you that way, but I will do my best. So here's how I would book the WWE brand split, starting on that SmackDown. So basically, for my champions on Raw, I would have. As far as the WWE Heavyweight Champion is concerned, I would do the same thing. I would have him be him being on both shows, Raw and SmackDown. I do like when they did that back in 2002 with Triple H, how he appeared on both shows. As far as the tag team championships are concerned, I would actually bring back the 2 sets of tag team titles that the brands had prior to those chocolate coin looking ones being introduced. So on Raw, they would get the World Tag Team Championships, which were the red ones that I was telling you about when we first started doing brand split challenges. And then on SmackDown, it would be those blue WWE Tag Team Championships. Because I feel like, tag teams, with this tag team revival, no pun intended, but, this tag team revival in NXT and recently on the main roster, I feel like tag teams are becoming significant again, and I feel like tag teams are an important part of professional wrestling. And I think if both brands had respective champions, tag team champions, it would make their tag team divisions mean something, So that's why I would reinstate the World Tag Team Championships on Raw and the WWE Tag Team Championships on SmackDown. As far as the Women's Championship is concerned, I would also do that on Raw. If you remember back in 2003, 2004, 5, the Women's Champion was strictly on Raw, so I might as well do that. But I would have a good amount of women's wrestlers on both shows in case the SmackDown women want to jump to Raw and go after the big woman of the big female dog of the yard or whatever. As far as my mid-card championships, I would have I think to try to bring more prestige to it, I would have the United States Championship on Raw, like you, Daniel, and the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown. But I would reinstate one more championship on SmackDown, and that would be the Cruiserweight Championship. Because with the Cruiserweight Classic and all these, elite, diverse cruiserweights competing in WWE, what I would do is, well, obviously, I would draft Neville and Kalisto to SmackDown. And I would call up Gargano and Ciampa as well from NXT to SmackDown. And then I would draft like 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10. No, between 5 and 8 standouts from the Cruiserweight Classic. So like Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, I know the tournament hasn't happened, but when I look at the roster, like the standouts I'd be looking for are like Kota Ibushi, Zack Sabre Jr., maybe draft back Brian Kendrick. Maybe send a special invitation to Rey Mysterio Jr., especially after he's been killing it on Lucha Underground, and it seems like he's 10 years younger than he actually is. So I would have the Cruiserweight division exclusive to SmackDown and the Women's division exclusive to Raw. So it's pretty much like how it was back in 2002, 3, 4. But I feel like the Cruiserweights are going to have a huge resurgence with the Cruiserweight Classic. Yeah, so that's how I would divide champions and the championships. As far as the general managers, okay, I gotta go with Shane O'Mac on Raw because Shane brings something fresh to Raw. I mean, he holds the people in the palm of his hand, so to speak. Like when he just says "What's up" wherever city they're at, they react, man. Like he's commanding. You know what I'm saying? So Shane McMahon for Raw. For SmackDown, instead of Stephanie, I want to bring a fresher face, somebody you wouldn't expect, somebody that would bring competition to Shane. And when I think about it, when I consider my options, I would bring Daniel Bryan as the SmackDown general manager.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. D-Bry as the SmackDown general manager, and his lovely wife Brie Bella as the general manager's assistant.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And then let's see, commentary teams. Okay. It's obvious we love Mauro Ranallo and Corey Graves, so they would be on Raw. As far as SmackDown goes, I wouldn't have Michael Cole or JBL. I would have Tom Phillips, and I would actually put Renee Young with Tom Phillips.
Okay.
Because Renee Young was fun to watch and listen to on NXT back in the day. And yes, she's doing her thing as a backstage interviewer. She has her show Unfiltered. But I want to try I want to mix it up a little bit. And I love Renee Young. I think she's very charming. I think she has that charm. So I think she'd be great for SmackDown. And then I know we haven't mentioned NXT. If I had to like put 2 commentators on NXT, I guess I would put Byron Saxton back there because he's not the worst, but I feel like he's good. He's like the goody commentator, and it kind of annoys me. Yeah, but actually, and I know we're not doing NXT, but I was just saying like this can't be honest. I might do him and JoJo.
Okay. That's different, but hey, it may work. Sometimes different is good, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, for Raw, Mauro Ranallo and Corey Graves, the elite dream team in commentary right there. And for SmackDown, Tom Phillips and Renee Young. I think it'd be cool to see a female commentator because, like I said, she did her thing in NXT. And I think it'd just be cool to see how she does on the main roster. So yeah, just mix it up a little bit. And then last is superstars, right? Like who'd be on what roster? Okay. Roman Reigns would be on Raw. He'd be the main guy on Raw. Not a good guy, not a bad guy, but the guy. Yeah, I know that gets annoying.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. And on SmackDown I'd have John Cena. Now on Raw, I would have like on SmackDown I would have more of your more of your gifted technical wrestlers, but on Raw, I'd have a mix of like brawlers and technical wrestlers. So I'd have Roman, Ambrose, I'd have Sami Zayn. And if I have Sami Zayn, I have to have Kevin Owens because they're destined to fight forever. And I'm not gonna mention like 20 plus guys. I'm just gonna mention some main names. Yeah. So I'd have Roman, Ambrose, Owens, Zayn. Throw in a veteran like Jericho.
Yep.
Throw in. I'd have the Undertaker. No, I'd have Brock Lesnar be on Raw, and I'd have Undertaker be on SmackDown. So we have those two elite. That elite star power from veterans. I'd have Jericho on Raw. I'd have excuse me. I call up Nakamura from NXT. I would call up. I'm trying to think of a couple names off the top of my head now. I would call Bobby Roode. American Alpha, though, they would be on SmackDown. Enzo and Cass would be on Raw. Revival would be on Raw. I haven't seen much of these guys, but when I see more of them, TM61 I call up to Raw. As far as women, I'd go with Asuka, Sasha, Bailey, and ironically, those are three that are on my roster. Remember, in the brand split, so I feel like I'm not looking at my roster. I'm just coming up with a new roster. I would put Emma on Raw, and I'd put Natalia, and then women on SmackDown. I'd have Becky Lynch, Charlotte. Well, no, Charlotte's a champ, so I mean, I'd have Becky Lynch, Dana Brooke. I would call up Santana Garrett, and I'd call up Carmella from NXT. I'd also have Alexa Bliss.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And there's one more women's wrestler who I put Paige on SmackDown. Some of these, just keep in mind, guys, some of these are off the top of my head. Others I had already planned. And I put Naomi on SmackDown. And then as far as the other members of SmackDown brand like Cena, I have Apollo Crews, Finn Balor. I'd have American Alpha. I'd have Samoa Joe. I already said Undertaker. He would be like the exclusive veteran or a part-timer, however you want to call it. I'd have AJ Styles on SmackDown. Club with Gallows and Anderson would be on Raw. But AJ would be on SmackDown. Cena would be on SmackDown. I would have the Vaudevillains on SmackDown. I'd have the New Day on I have New Day on SmackDown because remember, I have two separate. Each brand has a respective tag team championship. I think Austin Aries would do well on SmackDown, so I'd send him there. I would send, when she comes back, Nikki Bella to Raw. I was gonna send her to SmackDown, but I was like, nah, we're gonna split the Bella Twins this time. So Nikki would go to Raw, but continuing with SmackDown. I'd have Rollins, of course. I'd have cruiserweights like Kalisto, Neville. I honestly want him to go back to Adrian Neville, but that's just a little something off the top of my head. Yeah. If he's still around, Del Rio. I would have, guys like Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi from the Cruiserweight Classic, Gargano and Ciampa. Did I say Balor?
I think you did.
I think I said Balor, yeah. Did I say Cruz?
Yeah.
Okay, I did say Cruz. And I think I would also put Kare said Nakamura, he's on Raw. And I said Undertaker. Oh god, there was one more wrestler I was gonna put on the and I would put Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman on SmackDown, and I'd put Luke Harper on Raw and Eric Rowan on Raw. Yeah. So I'd split the Wyatt family up, but I would put, because Harper and Rowan as a tag team were good.
Yes, sir.
They were good as a tag team, but I could see Strowman on SmackDown being like Bray's huge enforcer, that grizzly bear of a man. So yeah, that's pretty much my rosters for Raw and SmackDown. And I didn't really give much thought about pay-per-view, but Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and Survivor Series, the big four. Obviously, those would be dual brand pay-per-views. I think I probably might go with your style of booking, Daniel, in the sense of like Fastlane going to, would you say, SmackDown or Raw?
That was Raw, and then Roadblock would be SmackDown. Every other month you alternate, and you just have more time to book, you know?
Well, Money in the Bank. Oh no, Money in the Bank. I don't know if I do Money in the Bank dual brand to where in the Money in the Bank ladder match you have competitors from both shows. So just put a asterisk next to that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I probably would do the same thing you did. Beast in the East, I'd make that a Raw Network special simply because it's called Beast in the East. So you have to have Brock Lesnar. Yeah.
It was a good show.
Yeah, that was a really good show. I mean, they should have just that tag match with Cena and Ziggler, that should have just been cut short, and then the main event should have been Balor versus Owens.
I don't even remember that tag match.
I was gonna go to bed after that match because I stayed up until 4. But
that was on the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one hell of a way to spend 4th of July, dude. Staying up until 2:30 in the morning to watch wrestling live from Japan. That was so much fun.
And this year we got a half-assed 3-hour Raw, so I'm not watching that this year. Anyways, there is one question I have to ask you. The most important question of them all.
Yes.
Would you fire Kevin Dunn? If you know who that is. Do you know who Kevin Dunn is?
I know who Kevin Dunn is.
The producer that does all these stupid, like, shakes the cat. I would get him out of there. I would put in a new producer, get some new graphics, some new music, fresh and whole coat of paint. I'm just sick.
Oh, hell yeah. I forgot to say that. If I was booking the freaking brand split, Raw would be 2 hours.
Yes.
SmackDown would be 2 hours. NXT would still be an hour. Pay-per-views would be 3 hours. But I would get new freaking sets.
Yes.
I have a video coming up where I'm gonna talk about things that, and I'm gonna do this before the brand split, where I talk about things that can really help WWE usher in a new era. And one of them is a new set, because I'm sick of seeing the damn Raw set for every freaking pay-per-view.
But exactly. The pay-per-view, they don't feel special anymore. It's like SummerSlam. They couldn't even do a set for SummerSlam. Sorry, I'm still upset about that.
Freaking Royal Rumble, because it was the whole one versus all in the Roman Coliseum. You couldn't even make a Roman Coliseum or pillars or anything.
Nope, it's the half-ass Raw set.
Yeah,
it's a nice set, but it's overdone. I'm sorry. I understand they invested millions of dollars into it, but you have to give SmackDown its own identity from Raw, and make Raw a little bit dark. Like, it's too colorful,
Yeah,
it is. It's like a circuit. Let's make it more grungy, more realistic. Make the lighting dip. Like in the Attitude Era, the crowd was lit up. Now it's in red. It's things like that bother me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it. So to recap, guys, everything that I said, Raw would get the World Tag Team Championships. I would reinstate those, the red belts, along with the Women's Championship exclusively and the United States Championship. SmackDown would get the Cruiserweight Championship exclusively, so I would reinstate the Cruiserweights. SmackDown would also get the Intercontinental Championship and the WWE Tag Team Championships, those blue titles. The champion, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, would be on both shows. And like I said, the women's division would be exclusive to, well, there would be 2 women's divisions, but the champion would be exclusive to
Raw.
Yeah, the champion would be exclusive to Raw. But if the SmackDown women want to jump ship, the door is always open. My commentators for Raw would be, of course, Mauro and Corey. For SmackDown, I would have Tom Phillips and Renee Young, which I think is a unique team, a unique pairing. And then I just threw this out randomly, but if I was to book NXT, if I was to assign 2 NXT commentators, I would do Byron Saxton and JoJo, who are both NXT alumni. So, and then general managers for Raw, got to go with Shane O'Mac, who's got a mad shoe game, by the way. And for SmackDown, I'd have Daniel Bryan leading the Yes Movement on SmackDown. And then Daniel, you'll probably like listen to this again. But some of the key names on Raw would be Brock, Nakamura, Roman, Cesaro, Jericho, Ambrose. For the women, I'd have Asuka, Bayley, and Sasha, just to name a few. And then for SmackDown, I'd have Undertaker, Rollins, AJ, Cena, Apollo Crews, Finn Balor, Samoa Joe. Women, I would have Becky Lynch, Dana Brooke, Paige, Alexa Bliss. And cruiserweights like Neville, Kalisto, Johnny Gargano, my man, Tommaso Ciampa, Zack Sabre Jr., Kota Ibushi. I may bring back Brian Kendrick, extended invitation to Rey Mysterio Jr. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would do. Oh, and of course, new sets, new music, and 2-hour Raw, 2-hour SmackDown. I'm not even freaking thinking of jumping over to 3 hours. That's freaking ridiculous. And yeah, the same pay-per-view scheme that the same pay-per-view lineup that Daniel pretty much had, unless I come up with something new. But I really didn't think much about pay-per-views. But what you had, Daniel, I like, so I would just go with that. Yeah.
All right, and to recap my WWE brand split, I'd have one World Heavyweight Champion, 2 3-hour Raw specials the night after Mania and SummerSlam. Raw would be 2 hours with the United States Championship and the Women's Championship on it. It also would have the announcers of Mauro Ranallo and Corey Graves, and the GM would be Shane O'Mac. My roster would be composed of Reigns, Ambrose, Rollins, The Miz, Sami Zayn, Rusev, Neville, Baron Corbin, Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, Braun Strowman, Chris Jericho, Titus O'Neil, Sheamus, Lesnar, Orton, Aries, Joe. Charlotte, Bayley, Paige, Natalya, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Naomi, Tamina, Nikki Bella, Summer Rae, Emma, and Dana Brooke. SmackDown, likewise, would be 2 hours, have the tag team titles and the IC title on it. The announcers would be Cole and JBL. The GM would be Stephanie. And the roster would be composed of Cena, Styles, Owens, Cruz, Balor, Del Rio, Cesaro, Breeze, Dallas, Ziggler, Ryder, Angle, Carlito, Young, Rude, Taker, and Anderson and Gallus, the New Day, Lucha Dragons, the Dudley Boys, the Vaudevillains, Primo and Epico, Enzo and Big Cass, the Ascension, the Usos, and the American Alpha.
Yep, our favorite team who's always ready, willing, and Gable. Also on that brand, our favorite certified G's and bona fide studs.
And you can't teach
that.
So, folks, thank you all for tuning in to this live Google Hangout. I want to thank the 4 viewers that tuned in to watch. Much appreciated. Robbie, before we sign off here, you're always welcome to get a plug-in for your channel.
Thank you, Daniel, as always. So yeah, guys, Robbie1 Kenobi on Twitter and YouTube, ROBBIE, the numeral 1, KENOBI. He's very passionate about wrestling and making these videos for my channel. I always welcome, comments and suggestions, everything like that. Please check out my channel. Please support it. Please continue to support Daniel's channel. We do what we do because we love wrestling.
Yes, we do.
Yep, we do. And we just want to make, because I honestly think this thing with Mr. Bob Backlund and Darren Young has just gotten pointless, but you give us the power, we'd make Raw and SmackDown great again.
Yes, we're going to make Raw and SmackDown great again.
What the hell was that one promo like? Don't listen to what anybody says, then listen to me. What the hell was that about?
Yeah, we're not gonna go there. Let's just leave that be. But yeah, Robbie, thank you once again for joining me, and thank you all for watching this video. Please remember to click my like and subscribe button for the latest video content that will be coming soon to this channel, which will be my NXT review. I have to watch NXT right after this.
Yes.
So get my review up hopefully tonight or tomorrow morning. So we will see. So once again, Robbie, thank you for joining me, and thank you everyone. Until then, peace.